Right, hello, my darlings. Back with the Great Ugly. This is Great Ugly number 12, which is my week 10. So I'm week 10 of my personal 100 days challenge now to try to get something in here and filmed and edited and uploaded once a week. So look at the size of this thing. It is a monster, absolute monster. So today I've got a bit of a different idea along the lines of eco and junk, proper junk upcycling. Because this is that's the theme of the week for Rach and Bella's collaboration. So today we're using beer cans. These craft IPA type beer cans that have the most peculiar art. There's lovely artwork on some of them. So today we are going to make an insert for the journal using beer cans. So that's a beer can, that's a beer can, that's come from a beer can, and that's come from a beer can. So stick around and watch me muddle through the process of taking these apart. Right, my darlings, back in a sec. And right, my darlings, a quick little play session to experiment now this evening with some craft beer cans. Because as you can see, the craft beer cans do have interesting graphics and artwork and things on them. So as you can see, that one I've already cut down. I've already had a little play in the embossing machine and trimmed it and everything. So just for as an example, these cans have got really interesting artwork on them. I quite like that one. A glass case of emotion. There's a milk carton. And so the king rat. So first thing I want to do is show you just how easy it is to cut these down. So move these out of the way. And the reason I do have an inkling of a plan for that sort of Fallout inspired journal for the future. I just haven't decided. It's brewing. The idea is brewing, but I like the idea of incorporating some of this artwork. So I want to try to get two pieces down and get them into the Great Ugly in some way, shape, or fashion. I'm just not sure at this point of recording what it's going to look like or how I'm going to do it. So I had to go with tin snips before, and I actually had a harder time with the tin snips than I did just my old pair of Scotch titanium scissors. So I'm just going to go in the top, we'll make sure they're empty, and give it a scrunch. Now this sound is not going to be very nice on camera, so please feel free to speed this up. And I'm going to go down to the bottom, and careful of your fingers. Try to get on the bottom of that graphic. Because again, I don't know what printing method this is, because it's definitely printed onto the aluminum in some way. Just be careful of any little jagged bits if you give it a go. Around that way on the top. And they're really, it's catching on my towel now. And again, have something like your mixed media towel down. This one's fresh from the tumble dryer. Because you may have some remnants of beer in there. This one's okay. Go. And, because I think I washed this one out. There we go. And that now goes in the recycling. And I've got a nice big stretch there. There's some little jagged edges, but that's okay, as long as you're super careful at this point. And we're going to give that one a little bit of a wipe with a wipe. And once I get this trimmed, I'm going to give it a proper wash. So I'll put that mat down for something else. Hold on. So once you get it flattened out, it's quite easy to square up, if that makes sense. Grab my ruler. Oh, come on. Could be better organized here. And with my cutting wheel, trim it off and square it up. And then I know I've got a bit of a straight edge on that side now. Go back and square off that bottom, and that's where a lot of the jagged pieces are at the moment. And some of the cans cut, I think some of the cans are thicker than others, so that's got a lot of jagged pieces on it, so I'm being a bit gentle with it. So I know that's a straight edge, that's a straight edge, and I don't really want all that text there. So I'm going to cut that one down about there. So I think you could get really creative with some brads and embossing and things with this one. That was a little bit wonky. See if I can square it off. Right, all that goes in the metal recycling then. And as you can see, it still wants to, well, that's not a very pleasant noise. It still wants to curl up. So the next bit now, let's get the embossing machine out and see. Actually, I'm going to give this a wash in the sink with some soap and dry it. And then I'll get my embossing machine out. And I'll be back in a tick. Right, my darlings, just a bit of a tip or hint here. I went to go trim these last few down before I got the embossing machine out. And I think I forgot to mention before, when you're trimming, don't try to trim below that curved bit. And again, on the top, don't try to trim up here. Stick to the flat part of the can. Because if you start trying to cut up into that section, you're going to get stuck. And your scissors get stuck. So try to stick just below that rim. Yes? And then they can be washed and trimmed down. The other one was, I got this one out and went to try to make a cut and realized it's a sticker. So let's have a go on camera and see if we can get the whole thing peeled off. So it is coming through. Just try to keep the pressure a little bit resistant. Because the image on these is in the aluminum. Some are textured, some are smooth. I do think this would be a nice idea for a masculine journal as well. Not just my sort of weird fallout idea I've got. Oh, there we go. It came off all in one piece. And that's quite a thick sort of sticker label. Let's see if I can get it down here. With no air bubbles in it. Ooh, interesting. I've got to check all these now. Yes. Bonus. And now I have a piece of aluminum, plain aluminum, that I can chop off of that. So, here we go. Back to playing. Back in a moment with the big shot. Right, I got the big shot out. Pulled out some that I've done a couple of weeks back, or last month. I think I trimmed those down. I've only put the paper clips on them now, because I had them try to, in a book, to see if I can get them to flatten down, and they weren't. I think clipping them is the next stage, to see if I can get them to flatten down. That one is the one we've just done. That's the one that was curled like that I used some of these little edge embossers. I found these in a charity shop. So they're just like random floral designs. And it's actually helped that one actually flatten down a little bit because I did them on the sides. So I'm going to leave those out as a maybe. And that one is going away for me to experiment on. So I've just got some more industrial type embossing folders out with different mark making patterns. I think there's a bingo one in here, some circles, twigs, bricks, spots, and then for that one and one of those, I want to try on camera now. Oh, there's another one of the skinny ones. I want to try one with a regular embossing folder, and I want to try one with a 3D embossing folder to see how the metal behaves. So let's have a go. These are the ones I had before. One that says Faith. It's one with like a pink mountain. And I love the image on that one. Very steampunk. And I like the image on that one as well. So for the Great Ugly, let's go with yeah, let's go with Faith and the sheep. Go. Pop these on. Nope. The clips on the other side. And if I cut any more out to go into the fallout box, I think I'm going to clip them. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to clip them this way with the giant paper clips and put them back under that book to see if I can get them to flatten out. So, as I go, I'm going to experiment with a few now tonight, but I won't suffer you through watching every one. Let's just do these two folders on camera. So, there you go. I got gears on this one. And it's just a regular embossing folder. And pop my aluminum in. And the plate back on top. And you go. Is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? No, it's not gonna go. Hold on. Hopefully this doesn't shake my camera. No. Let's try flipping that around the other way. Or, no. No. 3D ones, I'll take the other plate out. Nope, not gonna work. Let's try. Where's it gone? Oh, that's why. That's in there. Sorry. There we go. That's why it wasn't going through. And I'm wondering if that doesn't feel very tight going in there. Let's have a look. Oh, it has, but I've embossed it on the wrong side. Never mind. I've embossed it on the wrong side. Oh, what a numpty, honestly. Let's try a different one. Let's do the pink one. And make sure the embossing folder is going around the right direction. Oh, see? We learn from our mistakes. Yes, that side up. Let's try this one. There we go. And in. And then back to the other way. Ooh, that's nice. And it's completely flattened it, look. It's not curling at all. Ooh, lovely. Let's try a 3D one. So I've got a 3D one that is like sort of a metal riveted plate effect. So let's take that out. Yes, that plate comes out. And let's try the faith one on there. So that is curling a bit. It is flattening out, but that's been stored away for a while. And through the machine. You can hear it crinkling. And I'm excited for this one, see what it looks like. Ooh, interesting. Oh, I want to play with this now. I want to rub some like wax or something on it. So it has given that sort of riveted effect. It needs distressing then, doesn't it? So I'm going to play with my last few ones here with some of my embossing folders, and I'll pop back on and share my results with you. So, back and tick. Right, my darlings, I've had a little bit of play with the Big Shot in the embossing folders. Some success, some failures. That one I think I'm going to do for the Great Ugly, and that one I'm going to put to the side for the Great Ugly. I did that one with a bingo one. I think it's a Tim Holtz one. That sort of bingo one. But not impressed at all because it's actually split. There's lots of like cracks in the, I don't know if you can actually see them on camera. There's actual holes. Here's my pokey tool. There's holes that have cut all the way through on some of the numbers. So like here, it's actually cracked it where the detail. There, you can see that. It's actually split it. So I'm not going to throw it away just yet. It will go back in the box, the fallout box, to see. So the 3D and the more sort of I didn't even have a go with that one, with the brick one. The more detailed, there it is, there's the bingo one. The more sort of intricate embossing, perhaps stay away from with the beer cans. That one was a cheaper, thinner embossing folder with just a gear wheel, and the effect on the front is really, really cool. So that just needs some, perhaps go back over, play with some gilding wax, I don't know yet. That one, again, was a 3D texture. That was the Sizzix Tim Holtz 3D wood grain, and it's absolutely butchered it. It's split it in a few places. But, again, I'm not throwing it away because it could be salvaged. That one I did with the world map, which is given a really interesting raised effect. That one I did just with a cheaper embossing folder with dots. That was that first piece. And that last piece that we peeled the sticker off of, I've just finished running through the machine. And I used washi to secure those down because I just could not get them to stay in place with the aluminum trying to bounce up underneath. So let's have a look. So those edge ones. So I've ended up with something like that. So I've run, where's it gone? I'm throwing stuff everywhere, honestly. I'll have a craft lunch again in a minute. But again, similar to that, I had a smaller embossing folder to do that. The piece was bigger, so I just put those smaller edged ones along, and I'm quite liking that effect. I know very shiny on camera at the moment, But once that's dampened down or waxed, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. Still experimenting, still playing. So that's what I've come up with so far tonight. So I'm going to give that a pause, and I'll be back. Right, and back again. Pulled out some bits and bobs, done a bit of waxing. I got a few different, I've got like a bronze and a copper of the gilding wax, and a silver I got out. But I had two other ones at a treasure haul recently, Purple Paradise and Citrus Green. So I've had to play with those, which I've not done before. Mixed results, but again, it's going in the Great Ugly or it's going in the Fallout. It's meant to look post-apocalyptical and look like I've used up things, unwanted, unloved things. So that's the purple on that dotty one. The purple isn't a great consistency. I think it's really old. Then we had the Faith one. I went around with copper and bronze. This wax is still very new to me. I'm still learning how to apply it. That one then, I quite like the waxed effect that came out on that one. So I think I'm going to keep that one for the Great Ugly. And this one was with that green and silver. And I quite like the way that came out. And this was my mistake, because it's embossed on the wrong side. So definitely, as a note to self, it's going in the Great Ugly, I think. So those two are going in the Great Ugly. And also, I have different types of brads. You've got your standard ones you find in the stationery shops over here. I've got my nicer ones, which include things like the screw cap ones. And I found those in a thrift haul, but I don't want to use those in the Ugly. I want to save them. I've got some autumnal colored ones. I want to save those. But I had these, and they're just like really cheap gemstone ones. Whether I ever actually used them, they were mixed in with the treasure haul. So I went through those, and I found sort of some paler green and paler yellow ones, and I think I'm going to use those to attach this. So because I'm using brads, let's get some of this moved out of the way a little bit. I've cut this piece of black card down to fit in the Great Ugly. I've already cut it to size. So now I need to think how I'm going to get the brads through. Do I use a bit of glue to dab them down? So I'm thinking a brad in each corner, a brad in the center of each side, and two brads on the bottom. But I'm wondering if art will stick these. So let's just have a go. Let's just have a go and see if art will grab this. Because I can always go back and test it later by trying to slip something in between the brads. I mean, art grabs everything else. Why not aluminum? Let's give it a go. And then I need to think to myself now, my sort of process notes of, it doesn't want to. Right, no, wait. Be there a second. Even if it just grabs in a couple of places, so they stay put while I put the brads in. Go. Cross your fingers for me. I just want it to stay put for a minute. long enough for me to pick it up. And pokey tools. That's Henry my hedgehog. Holder of all things spiky. I got my 2 pokey tools in there. And my chunky clips. Is that going to do it? Nope. Not going to happen. Right. Plan B. Let's slide a couple of these in place. I mean, Art might actually bond it, but it probably needs to be clamped for some time. So, for the sake of argument, let's get, for the sake of time and filming, let's just stick a couple of these in there to keep it down. Because Art they shouldn't shimmy then. So, I need to poke some holes. And I'm going to use my glue book to poke some holes. Let's try. How big is that brad head? Good size. Stick a hole through. Give it a wiggle. And do that green down here. But of course, in my Fallout journal, I'll probably do them either really industrial or really eclectic and mixed up. Now, I'm putting them through this piece of black card because, of course, my Great Ugly is already bound. Some holes in there. So that's the idea, anyway. So I hope everyone's finding this interesting. I find it interesting. It's definitely not something I've ever done before. Turn this around now to make sure I've got the right color. The yellow on the top and the green on the bottom. There we go. And if you have worked with aluminum or tin before, did you have any success with it? Was it, do you know of any other YouTubers or junk journalers out there that work with this? I'm sure I saw, I've seen either a German or an Austrian YouTuber that's used tin before, but I can't remember who it was for the life of me. Going back a few years ago now, though. So get those down. And I'm just going to carry on. So I am going to pause you there, man. You don't have to suffer through watching me just poke holes. But I'm just going to go through and do the brads on... 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick one there, and then 2 at the bottom. And we'll have a little test then when I come back to see if Art actually does grab it all. Right, so I'm going to carry on with that for a minute, and I'll pop back on. Back in a tick. Right, and back. Got all the brads in. It's very blingy. Honestly, I really don't like the blingy brads at all. But in the spirit of the Great Ugly, I'm going to run with it. So they're all in. They're all secured down. I'll come back to that in a moment. Remember when I pulled the sticky label one off? I had these, and it's been quite warm here in the UK. That was another sticky label one. And what I've done is I've left the cans sit overnight on a windowsill to the sort of south face part of the house to warm up. And look at that. It's coming off all in one piece. It's hard to get a hold of it. Give that a pull. Trying to bend the can up too bad. Oh, there's beer coming out. Oh, lovely. I really did warm up in the sun, didn't it? And it's free. Right. Get rid of the beer paper. And grab another piece. I don't want that to stick to itself. King rat. No, we don't buy them often, but like I said, my husband likes these craft IPAs. Oh, that's got a wrinkle in it. It's actually repositionable to an extent. Where's my bone folder? It's very sticky. Very, very sticky. There we go. So, there's a tip and bonus on that one. And these really thick labels, they're not leaving any residue behind on the can at all. So, like that one that I did from the plain aluminum can, I now have a piece of black aluminum that I can use. So, no, pleased with that. So, pop that out of the way somewhere. Right, I need to get the Great Ugly out. But what I've done is on those that I peeled off as stickers, sorry, I've added some notes on the back of that one and added notes on the back of that one just to say beer cans. You know, don't forget to save a couple of the pull brads. Trim to size. Check the edges are clean and free from burrs, and I put it on this one as well. Check that your edges, once you've cut them down to size, go back very carefully and check on the edges and make sure there's no nicks or burrs on those edges before you start working with them with your other mixed media. Remember to put the embossing folder the right way up. And then a bit there about the adhesive, leaving it on a windowsill. So I'm going to pop that one into that bottom tuck. And I've stuck a beer can pull tab on the top. And I'm going to do the same thing on that one now. There was a gold. Where's it gone? There it is. And how I got those on, I ended up getting my mini brads out for that. Now, on that one, it worked quite well. On this one, I'm skeptical, but we're going to give it a go. And you're going in that end. Let's see if I can get that up closer. That end of the tab. So I'm going to give it a go. Let's turn it around facing me a minute. So I got a little bit of I don't think this one's going to work. I don't think it's going to work with this. Well, no, it is going. It's gone through the paper and the sticker. It's gone through the aluminum. This is a thicker tab. It is going. Just give it a twist. Let's try this other one. Of course, with the mini brads, you don't need a hole as big as you do the other brads. Is that big enough? Let's try one. Nearly. Let's try to get that in. Oh, come on, please work. Fit. Nearly. Oh, come on. One more push. Speed me up if you need to. It's not the most riveting thing to watch, I suppose. Oh, it's going now. giving it a twist. Pull that poke tool out. Yes, that'll do it. Get that through there. Not sure. How else do you reckon I could attach one of these beer tabs to something? So I did have a little look. We'll have a look again now with the pokey tool. Because that is going to spin. That might make an interesting closure if you can actually get a hole in it without going up to the workshop and getting different tools. All right, let's see if that fits. Does that fit in the top? It's a little bit tall, but it should be all right. No, interesting. So let's have a check. Go back in. Now, I think Art grabbed on that side. Art did not grab there. It's not grabbed at all there at all. None. No. Little bit. So no, Art did grab it in places. That's down. That's down. That's not. So no, perhaps if you do it with Art, you'd have to get something like the giant paper clips or just put a book on top of it, really heavy for a spell, and walk away from it. So let's grab the Great Ugly, which is somewhere. Right. There it is. Hold on. There we are. The Great Ugly. Let's move some of this somewhere. And where can this live now in my great big ugly idea book? The behemoth that it is becoming. Let's have a look. Should we put it further in the middle? Ah, there we go. It can go there. So all I'm going to do to get it in there, I need something to prop up the Great Ugly. Slide that underneath. Is that going to help? A little bit. And I'm just going to glue that down in place as a page to cover that page. And I'm probably going to leave this open overnight because it's got wax on it. That gilding wax. I'm 90% sure all that wax is set. But I don't want to come and open it and it stick to the other page. There we go. My own camera. And let Art do its thing. So now I've got the beer cans in the book. And I've got my notes written in. And I just need Art to do its thing. Come on, dude. There we go. Give it a smooth from the other side. This thing is getting so chunky. I don't know how I'm going to attach things going forward. Because it really is becoming a behemoth. I'm not sure what week I'm on for my 100 days. But no, it's been really good fun. So there we go. Beer cans. So definitely something I want to experiment with more and see how we get on. And if you've seen my collaboration video for the photo album pockets, I've also got laying in the other room some pieces drying because I want to try to see about making, pardon me, those photo album flips to be a bit more matte, a bit less shiny. So I've got some experiments drying at the moment. So keep an eye on the tips and tricks video. Nope. happy with that. Now, as with the Great Ugly, let's check what's nearby. Those were done for the Great Ugly. Those I think I've covered before. I've also gone into these are made from 6x6. Try it again, Faith. Those are made from 6x6s. Those are also in eglantine, that idea. What's on the other side? Not much. The shank buttons, which I've done, and I think I've covered that as well. So, that's all from me for the Great Ugly for this week. So, thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed and taken some inspiration and been inspired to go and play yourself with something new. So, take care, everyone. Hope to see you back again soon. Bye for now.